Hello everyone and welcome to today's session. My name is Abby and I'm going to be your host for this morning. So today we're going to be covering how to use quick filters and quick search to analyze your data a little bit more quickly and efficiently. Now it's just myself on today's session, so I am hosting and I'm going to be answering questions throughout the session as well. So please do bear with me on that question front. If I don't get a chance to pick up your question during the session, I will pop you an email after the session has ended. Now, today's session is booked out for 45 minutes, but we're not going to need that amount of time. So we're probably going to be going to need around 30 minutes or so, depending if we have any questions outstanding at the end. Just before we start the session, I just want to cover some housekeeping. So what you'll see when you join is that you will be placed on mute automatically. If you do have any questions, however, you can use the questions panel on the right-hand side of your screen by clicking the option that looks like a little speech bubble with the question mark in the middle. This is then going to open up that panel where you can send your questions across, where I'll be able to pick these up for you. We do also have a handout for today. You can download this by clicking on the icon just below the little speech bubble. Looks like a document with the folded corner. And I would recommend downloading this as it does have some helpful links to our help centre. Now, just a reminder, just like every session, this webinar is recorded and it will be included in your follow-up email. In your follow-up email, there is also going to be links to register for future webinars and also access to other recordings. And that, again, you're going to receive that email around an hour after the session has ended. Okay, so this is what we're going to be covering on today's session. So we're going to introduce filters and quick search. Some of you may be familiar with using that option. Some of you may have not thought of using the filters and quick search, or you might not be familiar with how you can use it to the best of your ability. What we'll then do is we'll do some demonstration in the software. So we'll cover various areas. And then towards the end, we'll just come back to the slides and we'll just talk about further support. So in Sage 50 accounts, using filters and the quick search functionality provide several benefits to enhance your efficiency and streamline your workflow. So it gives you the ability to track financial information. So it might be that you want to hide, for example, zero balances. It'll help you improve your decision making because you can do it a lot quicker, because you can reduce that information that you're seeing on your screen, find what you're looking for, and make that decision. Again, kind of feeding into that, locate data quicker. So for example, if you're in invoices and credits, you might want to display your invoices on your invoices and credits module. It's also going to help you identify specific records, and also as well, you can actually run reports on that filtered data as well. So that's going to help you run reports a lot quicker if you've got a lot of data in your software. If you filter down to just the information that you need in a report form, that report will then run a lot quicker as well. So what can you filter? So you can filter records, invoices and credits, products, transactions, projects, and departments. And if you haven't heard of it already, you've also got custom fields in the software as well. And I'm going to show you shortly in that demonstration where you can find those custom fields. But the beauty of the custom fields and adding them to your records is to enhance your filtering and reporting experience. So it gives you the ability to include additional data fields that are actually relevant to your company's operations. So it's a bit of customization to your software. So for example, it could be regions, customer types, cost centers, and it just provides you a more comprehensive reporting and analysis capabilities. So where do you find the quick search and filter options? So it's going to be in all standard modules, excluding the bank accounts module. Also as well, you've also got the chase debt view in customers and manage payments view in suppliers. Now, these two options are not available if you have the Essentials variant of the software. Now, I'm not going to go into detail into these two options. We have just done a session on the Chase Debt View. I have included a link in the top right of your handout if you want to check that out individually, but I will very, very briefly show you in the demonstration. So what I'll do now is I'll pop over to my software. So what we'll do first is we'll just pop into the customer records. And as you can see, I've got 30 records in my module. So what you could do is, as I mentioned before, is that you could filter by, you want to see customers that have a balance, not necessarily without a zero balance. So what you could do is you've got your quick search bar here. That's if you're looking for maybe a specific record, but your filter if you just want to find specific, a specific area. So for example, balance. So we'll click on filter along the top. And this is the window you see here. You've got clear form. So what that'll do is if you do have a filter in here and you want to clear that out altogether, you click clear form and that will remove the filter. You have two ways in which you can apply a filter. You've got the wizard, which will help you apply a filter that way. Or if you're confident enough to use these options here, you can also do it here. Like the memorize and recall option, if you're familiar with that, you can also save filters as well. So if you've got a filter that you can use quite often, you don't want to have it on all the time, you can save it and then you can just reopen that filter when you need to. But we're just going to filter where we're going to choose from the drop down, we'll find balance. We want to find customers that do have a balance. So we're going to choose the drop down and we're going to choose is not equal to, and we'll then leave that as 0. Because that's what that's going to then do is I've clicked apply. You can see I'm now went from 30 records to 24 of 30 records. So we'll close that down. You can now see it is now only showing me customers with a balance. So this might help if you're doing your statements or anything like that. You want to say who's got a balance, who am I going to be sending my statements to? What you can also do as well is you can actually toggle. If you have a common filter that you want to toggle on and off, you don't want a clear form, just to the left of the filter button, you've got this little option here. What that will do is that will just temporarily remove that filter. So then you can see now I've got customers with 0 balances. If I want to toggle it back on, you just click that button again, and then it will reapply that filter. But again, if you want to clear the filter completely, you go back into filter, click clear form. You can see that's now disappeared, and you can click apply. So that's, again, if you're not familiar with the filters, very basic how those filters work. Again, they appear throughout the software, as you can see. As we go through, obviously different modules are going to have different filter options in those drop downs as well, so definitely worth checking those out. But the one that you don't see it in is in bank accounts. So you can see there I don't have the option to filter my bank accounts, but it has also been added in nominal codes as well. Now, what I mentioned before was the custom fields. So if we pop into settings along the top, we're going to go into configuration, and you have a tab there for custom fields. Now, I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail as we do have a dedicated session for custom fields. But as you can see, you've got up to 6 analysis fields. Now, if you're in version, I think it's below version 28 or version just version 29.0, you may only have 3. If you're in the later versions, you will have 6 for your customers and your suppliers. Now, these are just what come default in my company, but you can pop anything in here that is relevant to your business that you want to show on your customer records, supplier records, departments, quotation, sales orders and invoices, and purchase orders. Again, you can also pop it in projects. If we pop into projects along the top, you've got custom fields here. And I believe as well, you've also got custom fields for your projects as well here. So we pop back to custom fields, so you can see I've got customer type, rep, region, and then on my sales orders, quotations, and invoices, I've also got a sales rep as well. Now, for these custom fields, these apply to all of your records. So you can't pick which fields apply to which records. However, if it's not relevant to that record, that customer, you just simply leave it blank. But what I can do is I can actually filter by these as well. So if we pop back to my customers, and you can see I've actually got my customer type and region showing along the top. So these are my custom fields in my customers. Now these don't show as default. So if you want to right click on the column header, if we scroll down to the very bottom, you can see I've got my 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, and 6. So these are my custom fields at the bottom. So I can tick these to show in the on this view. So then what I can actually do is I can filter by these as well. So let's say, for example, I want to filter where I'm going to find that custom field. So region, condition is equal to, now I'm going to pop in there, Northeast. So you can actually see there, I've now went from 30 to 7. I can also add in more lines if I need to. So I could put, just click underneath where it says where, and I'll put also and customer type. So we'll just find customer type in there. And I'm going to change is equal to, and I'm going to put public. So when I click apply, you can now see it's brought this Fred Bryant customer up, which is 1 of 30. You might have more in yours, like I say, if you were to use multiple filters. We can see it's given me region is where it's Northeast, and the customer type is public. So you can add more than one line to your filters as well. Now I've talked about the custom fields and what I've, my examples that I've used them from. If you use custom fields already, let me know in the comments in the chat what do you use your custom fields for, because I do like to use real life examples. So if you can pop some in there for me, that would be greatly appreciated as well. Again, if we were to add the custom fields, I'll quickly show you that as well. So I'll turn that filter off. To add your custom fields in, forgot to mention this one, is if we pop into the record and we pop into defaults on the left hand side, and you can see here, this is where I've added that information in. Again, all the fields apply to all records. It's just whether you choose whether you put something in that box. It's not mandatory, so you don't have to, but you can also pop that in. Really helpful tip as well is if you do want to start using custom fields and you want to add in a batch of changes for those specific records, what you can do is if you use standard or professional, you can also use the batch changes option to add in those custom fields. So if I was to select a couple, choose batch changes along the top, pop into defaults, and then I can put in batch changes if I wanted to change those custom fields. Really good question we got last week as well, which I will mention, is if you do use the import option for if you're importing records, or if you're in Essentials and you don't have the batch changes option, you can also use the import templates to pop in these fields as well if you need to. Good one from Lauren. I use this to filter my suppliers by either BACS or direct debit accounts. So great for popping that one in there for me. So question there from Teresa, are the fields in configuration custom fields free population? Is there any pattern like nominal codes to follow? So no, if you pop in there, it's a free type box. So it's entirely up to you how you want to use this. It's just a free text box, so you can pop in there what you wish. Okay, so we pop into invoices and credits. We'll pop into here. So for example, we'll open up, I'll show you where you will find the custom fields in here as well. So if you pop into the invoice, you go into the order tab and you go into there, you can see I've got the custom fields here. So we've got sales rep and we've got Joe Bloggs in there. So if I want to say, okay, well, who's the sales rep from the, or, you know, I want to say, okay, how many invoices has Joe Bloggs done? What we can do is we can apply a filter where, now with the invoices and credits module, they don't come up as the customized label. So you will have to remember which one it is. So we know that sales rep was analysis 1 is equal to, and then we'll put Joe Bloggs in there. So you can see now I've filtered that in and I've got 1 of 85 and it's brought up that invoice that has that sales rep. Again, the analysis fields don't show up automatically in your view. You will have to remember to right click and then add in your analysis fields in there as well. I'll just do one more example. So if we pop into products and services, actually got the filter turned on already. So if we pop into filter, you can see I've got a filter on there where quantity is in stock is equal to 0. So then if I just toggle that off, you can see I've got 105 records, but I want to pop that filter on. I've now got all the products that I've got that are, you know, I've got a 0 stock quantity. Now, just to remember as well, if you are going to be filtering and then using reports, just remember if you want to report on everything that's in that screen, just remember to toggle the filters off, as you might find if you have a filter on, and depending on the report that you're using, you might find it might not find any data because there's a filter applied. So just remember that may also happen as well. Right, I'm just going to pop back to the slides, as I do have one more slide to show you, and it's all about the wildcards. So you may have heard of the wildcards before. So you've got wildcards when you use quick search, but then you've also got wildcards when you do report design as well. But we're just talking about the filtering and the searching today. So to make your quick search and filter options more dynamic, to find what you need even faster, you can apply these wildcards here. So first you've got the asterisk. So this represents any number of valid characters, including spaces. So the position is important, as you can see as my example on the right. We've got a WE and then an asterisk and then 001. So that's then going to filter in my search for anything that is WE, any letter or character, then 001. So that's how you can see it'll find Web1, Wet1, Webster 001, and then West space Wood 001. Okay, so that's where it starts with the WE, and then it'll find any character in the middle where the asterisk is. And you can use this in your quick search bar, but also in the filters as well when you pop in that little type box at the end of your filters. Next, you've got the $sign. So the $sign represents a specific line of text anywhere in the data. So if you put the $sign and we, it finds it Web01, Wet01, Webster, West, and others such as Swede 123. So it's basically anywhere where the W and the E is together. but that could be anywhere in the data. So if you're doing this in customers, it could be in the, if you're just using quick search, that would find it in the address, in the account name, anywhere within that. Whereas if you were to do it in the filter, and you were to do it by filtering by account reference, and then you use that wildcard, it will then only look for account references where the W and the E is together. And then lastly, we've got the question mark. So this represents a single character, and again, position is important. So this will, quite similar to the asterisk, this one is where the single character is used. So we'll just pop into the software, and I'll quickly give you an example of this one. So let's pop over to my Sage. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just do the $ one where it's kind of within anyway. So if I was to do $WE and click search, so that's going to find me anywhere in all of these columns where WE is together. So it's not necessarily going to be specific to a specific area, so column. Whereas if you wanted to use this in the filter, so we'll do where, we'll do account reference for this one is equal to, and then we'll do $WE, we'll miss out the question mark, and we'll click apply. So you may not have any with we in there. Let's just have a quick look. So we might not actually have any references. So what we'll do is we'll do, instead of references, we'll do account name instead. So we'll do account name is equal to $WE. I don't have any E either. So what we'll do is we'll choose ST because I know I've got some in there. So as you can see, mine's gone for the name. So it's got ST there. It's got ST in there as well. And because we've got studios in there, so it's ST together there, that's why it's shown. So you can see it's anywhere, as long as the ST is together, it will show that reference. So again, have a play around with the wildcards. You might get your hand on them, you might find that they're really helpful. You might find that the way that you're currently doing it already works for you. Okay, so pop back to the slides. I have included a guide in the top right hand corner for the wildcards. It's got videos on there that you can watch as well if you wish to check out more on the wildcards. Okay, so just while we wait for any further questions to come through, I just want to talk a little bit about the upcoming webinars that we've got. So we've got the Management Reports badge coming in April, so you can earn your digital badge. So you are going to receive a link in your follow-up email for these badges if you wish to get registered. We've done these quite a few times now. You can pop them on your social media, share them with your colleagues, your clients to show you're more proficient in your Sage software. We've also got a Sage Copilot webinar coming up as well. So this is where we're going to demonstrate Sage Copilot and how it can help you manage debt, manage stock, monitoring business performance, improving data accuracy, and reporting on analysis. What I'll do is I'll quickly show you how you can actually register for these sessions. So on the Help Centre, if you pop to sage.co.uk/help or webinars, it will then take you to this one here. So it's going to take you to this webinars for 50 accounts. We'll scroll through so you can see we've got the Copilot webinar, and just below that, we've got the digital badge. So the digital badge, you've got to attend at least 5 of the 6 topics, including the quiz session as well. Okay, so last part I want to cover just before we wrap up the session. So if you are interested in our one-to-one bespoke training on your 50 account software, we do now offer various training bundles. So that could be stock control, construction industry scheme, banking, debtors and creditors, Sage Professional features as well. So if you are looking to upgrade from standard or essentials up to professional, we can also show you what you would get access to upgrading to professional. If you are wanting a personalized quote, you can just email the email address on your handout, so lsenablement1@365sage.net. Again, if you've got the handout, you can just click on that email address and it should open your emails to create a new one. Okay, so that does bring us to the end of today's session. Please feel free to stay around for the next minute or so if you are waiting for an answer to a question or have any further questions to ask. If you've got what you need today and you want to leave the session, you will receive an email in around an hour or so with links to both our webinar schedule and today's recorded session for you to refer back to if needs be. Upon exiting the session, you will see a survey at the end. If you could please let me know any feedback regarding today's session, and also as well, pop a comment in there for me, what you liked, what you think we could have done better, as we do love to read every single comment and improve our sessions. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to put myself on a brief mute just to see if there's any questions that do come through. I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll wrap this session up. I want to say thank you to you all for your participation today. And just a reminder, we've got plenty of sessions over the next couple of weeks, so don't be shy and get registered. So I want to say another thank you and take care.